Recording.
Okay, so let's start. We got a tiny technical problem, but now it's okay. Oh. Yesterday we discussed about monoidal functor, and today we will provide several examples of monoidal functor and of natural transformation between monoidal functor. Okay. So, example of monoidal functor. So there is an important class of monoidal functor called the forgetful functor. So there is a class of monoidal functor, forgetful functor, and by as you can expect, such a functor forgets some structure. So forgetting structure. So there is a usually a forgetful functor is of the form from a category C to the category of set, and where you can put in for C, it can be the category of groups or the category of topological space, etc., etc. So you start from group and you make just a set. You forget the structure of group, or you forget the structure of topological space, etc. Here, we will consider a forgetful functor for monoidal category. So for example, for monoidal category, so we will provide the next three examples will be more and more general. So the first example, the second example will be a generalization of the first, and the third example will be a generalization of the second. So you consider the functor from, for example, VEC. So rep G. So you take G some finite group, and you consider the category, the monoidal category of representation of G. So each representation of G. So it's a vector space. So you have a monoidal functor from rep G to VEC, and you can check. You can make that a monoidal functor. So let's fix a field. Okay. So the usual forgetful functor can be made as a monoidal functor. Okay, so you take everything trivial. You take so to have a monoidal functor, as I said before, you need extra structure. So you need the functor, but you need also the function g. But you take everything trivial here, and it's working. So okay. So second, it's a generalization of the first. So you take let H subgroup. So we can just take G a finite group, G finite group. Then there is no problem. You take a subgroup and you consider the functor rep G to rep H by restriction. Again, there is a usual way. This is a usual restriction, so you have of representation. So you have a representation of the group G. So G act on a representation. So H is a subgroup. You also act on that. So you have a map, a functor from rep G to rep H. And then one correspond to H equal trivial. Okay. And finally, the third, not the last example, but the last example of this form, you consider let F from H. So now H is no more a subgroup. You just have two groups, and you take a morphism between these two groups. So you have a morphism like that. B, morphism of finite group. So you take let V be a representation of G. Then we get a representation of H as the restriction of V to F of H subgroup of G. So again, so two correspond to so yeah. So you two correspond to three where F is just the embedding or something like that. And so it's denoted such functor is denoted F star, so it's completely given by F from rep G to rep H. And it's called the pullback functor. Pullback functor. Okay. So so all these functors are monoidal functors. So it's an exercise to prove exercise In fact, you just need to prove for the number 3 because the other are the above functor admits a structure of monoidal functor. Okay. Note that, remarque, we see the what we see. I'm not sure of that. Yeah. Ici, but anyway, I will skip that. I'm not sure about that. So we have two categories here, rep G and rep H, and we made several monoidal functor, and this monoidal functor depend on the choice of the morphism F. Okay. So now let's consider another example. So take, so now another example. So let F be again a morphism of group. Let V be H-graded vector space. So you have V with H-graded like that. Then we get a G-graded vector space as V equal the sum for G in G, sum for H in inverse of G, VH. Okay. So this provides you a functor. This provide a functor denoted F star from vec for the G H-graded vector space to the G-graded vector space. So it's no more a forgetful functor here, but you can get a forgetful functor. You get a forgetful functor by taking G equal the trivial, then F just from vec H to vec. Okay. So again, it's again exercise as show that it admits a structure of monoidal functor. But we will see here. We leave the details in exercise, but we will see some non-trivial example where we will provide more details. So okay, so let's see an example with a bit more details. Okay. So let S be a monoid. We take S to be a monoid and take the category, the monoidal category C avec S. So the identity functor IDC is a monoidal functor with again with a trivial structure. And now in this example, we will let investigate the natural transformation of monoidal functor between the identity and itself. And we will see that, in fact, you can get some non-trivial, obvious but non-trivial natural transformation of monoidal functor between these two identities. So yesterday, we defined. So you need two structures for a natural transformation of monoidal functor. So you have, it should be a natural transformation. There is an extra structure. So we will explain that in details for this example. So first, it should be a natural transformation in general. So first, N is a natural transformation. So, which means for all morphism from X to Y, we have this structure. So again, I will more write in details too. So we have this diagram. So this is between identity of C and identity of C. Identity of F, identity of C, Y, eta Y, identity of C of Y, F. Commute, which, so if you write, so this is nothing but that, like that. f y eta y f. But we can reduce to the simple. So we can. This is a semi-simple. It is semi-simple, and we can make the reduction to simple object. So the simple object. So so for all S and S prime in the monoid, you can reduce that to that. So you have delta S, eta of delta S F, delta S prime, eta of delta S prime, delta S prime, F, commute. But in fact, the home space between delta and delta S prime, delta S and delta S prime, but the home space delta S and delta S prime, this is K identity of delta. It's one dimensional. And SS prime. So it is 0 if S is different from S prime. Otherwise, it's just a multiple of the identity. Okay. So, okay. So then, wait. So, okay. So everything. So so if S is different from S prime, then you must take F equals 0, and it's okay. Otherwise, if S equals S prime, then everything here is just given by a constant K. So, so you have a, so this is a constant K. Eta delta S and F are given by constant K prime in field and by the diagram commute. So, and K prime. Yeah. But K prime equal. But K prime equal K prime K for all K prime K. So it's okay. Okay. It's a commutative field. So we see. So as a natural transformation, eta is completely given by a map as a natural transformation, eta is completely given by a map eta tilde from S to K. Yeah. Now let's consider the axiom for monoidal natural transformation. So you can write this additional structure as follows. So for all X and Y, see, so you have, so wait. Okay. So here the J structure is just the identity, and the functor are also the identity. So the modular structure is just like that. So you have X tensor Y, identity X tensor Y, and here you have eta X tensor eta Y, X tensor Y, identity X tensor Y, eta X tensor Y. So as I said here, the J structure is the identity, so you don't need to care about that. We put identity. Okay, so so you get that eta X tensor Y, eta Y equal eta X tensor Y. In other words, so if you if we restrict to the simple object, this means that the map we consider above, is multiplicative like that. S prime. Moreover, so is multiplicative. Moreover, right. We need we made a convention. So where did I say that? I say yesterday. Yeah, yesterday, I said that we made some convention about the unit. So by convention, as we said yesterday, eta 1 equal identity. So, eta tilde of 1 equal 1. So it's also, so then, the conclusion, summary. Conclusion. Eta tilde is a morphism of monoid. And it completely characterizes such it what I mean is that for every morphism of monoid you have and for every morphism of monoid you have a natural transformation of a monoidal natural transformation. Monoidal natural transformation. So conversely, so it's a complete characterization. Okay. So here we explain in a bit more details natural transformation, monoidal natural transformation on one example. And this example was between two identity functors of the vec S, with S is a monoid. And we see that you can make many possible monoidal natural transformation. Not even if the identity is trivial, you have a lot of monoidal natural transformation depending on the choice of morphism of monoid. Okay. So now, So now we will see the example of monoidal functor and morphism between monoidal functor for the J-graded, the category of J-graded space twisted by a 3 cocycle. So, monoidal functor between vec G1 W1 omega 1 and vec G2 omega 2. So recall that for all I and for all G1, G2, G3, G4 in GI, we have the 3 cocycle assumption. 3 cocycle. It's not an assumption, but it's a equivalent property. Equivalent to the pentagon action. So omega I. This is a map from GI cube to here we made some field. And so you have that like that. Omega I, G1, G2, G3, G4. Omega I, G1, G2, G3, G4 equal omega I, G1, G2, G3, omega I, G1, G2, G3, G4, and I, G2, G3, G4. And okay. Associativity constraint. Okay, so let us denote Ci for vec Gi omega I equal to 2. And we will consider monoidal K-linear. So in the book, the author did not write K-linear, but it should be. So K-linear functor between SC1 and C2. So proposition. It induce, so the functor F induce a group morphism F from G1 to G2 by restriction to the simple object. Okay. And we will prove that now, or after the pause maybe. Okay. So proof, and we will make the pause. So pause 6, 5, 2, 6, 10. C'est la pause. Okay, so let's restart. So we have a functor between, so we have a monoidal functor. We assume we take a monoidal functor, calinear functor between these two categories. And from that, we will prove that it induces a morphism of group. So we need to check. So we need to first to make a map and then to check that this map satisfies the axiom of a morphism of group. And we will use the property of the functor, modular functor. So we can restrict. So we can restrict by semi-simplicity. So see later. We will explain in more details what is semi-simple, etc. We can restrict to the simple object delta G. So let's see. But okay, you restrict to the simple object, but you can ask why a functor should map the simple object to the simple object. There is no reason a priori. Let's see. Let's see why the functor f maps the simple object to the simple object. In fact, so the functor f maps the simple object to the simple object because and here I will use I will use something that will be explained later, because you have the Frobenius-Perron dimension of the FG. So you have the simple object delta G. You apply the functor, and should be the same Frobenius-Perron dimension than delta G, which is 1. Why? Because it's a, so we will see later. We will see later the notion of Frobenius-Perron dimension denoted F P dim. So it's a monoidal functor. So the Frobenius-Perron dimension, the FP dim, is determined by the monoidal structure on what can I say? In fact, it can be get directly from the fusion ring. So which means that we don't need to care about J. Like you don't need to care about the structure of J. So you can take the isomorphism to be identity. No, the J is not the identity, but at the level of fusion ring, you don't need to care about that. Anyway. So the functor of delta G as a so F must keep FPDIM. So we will see also later. We will see later. But in fact, I provide some details here in the book that did not provide details. So I try to explain with some notion we will explain later. We will introduce later why simple object must map to simple object here. But so you have something. You have here this as Frobenius parent dimension equal to 1 here. But FPDIM of x equal 1 implies that x is simple. Of course, the converse is not true. And maybe, yeah. What to say? We need semi-simple assumption. It's not maybe. It's sure. I prefer to write that so you use semi-simple assumption. I'm not sure it is required or not, but anyway, here it's semi-simple. So so f of delta G is simple. We have equal to 1 here. Okay. Then we have the map. Then there exists G prime in G2, such that f of delta G is isomorphic to delta G prime. Yeah. So it induces. So we get the map. Conclusion. So so how to write that? So we have the expected map G map to G prime F. Called F. J1, J2, J map to J prime. Let's call it F. So del F delta G equivalent to FG, like that. Okay. Equivalent to. Okay. So we have the map. So this is what we wanted to prove in this proposition. So what was the point here? The point was just to prove that the simple object map to the simple object. And for that, we use some notion we will explain in more details later, the notion of Frobenius parent dimension. If it is one in this case, semi-simple case, then it must be simple. Maybe it's true in general, I don't know. To get the Frobenius parent dimension, we need to at least to be enough. This can be defined at the level of fusion ring, which is just ring theory. There's no category in fusion ring. So you can go from fusion ring to fusion category or to monoidal category by categorification here. Here, the category we consider this example are monoidal category, tensor category, in fact, fusion category. So we will see later all the notion of tensor category and then the notion of fusion category and then notion of Grothendieck ring of fusion category, which is a fusion ring. And you can define the Frobenius parent dimension on that. And if it is one, then the object must be simple, etc. So, so then we were able to make a map. Okay. So maybe there is another proof for that, I don't know. Maybe there is an easier proof which does not use Frobenius parent dimension, a fusion ring, etc. But it's enough to understand what happened here. So, okay, now we have a map, but we want this map to be a morphism of group. Okay, so why? Yeah, so now let's see. Now, let's see why F is a morphism of group. So you have the definition of a monoidal functor. You have an isomorphism. So by definition of monoidal functor, for all x and y, this is isomorphic to like that with the jx1. But if you restrict that by restriction to simple object, in fact, as before with the monoid, this is the same simple object, you get, so what did you get? You get f of delta GH isomorphic to F delta G tensor delta H is isomorphic to F delta G tensor F delta H. In fact, this one is an equality. And so what next? This is, so this here, this is delta of FGH. And so this is equal to, yeah, to delta FG tensor delta FH. And it's isomorphic to delta or equal to delta FG FH. So then this is here. This implies FGH equal FGFH. So it's multiplicative. And so you have F of identity is identity. So this implies that F of delta E equal delta E, which means F of the neutral of this one is the neutral of the other. So it's multiplicative and keep the neutral. Then, so because G is a finite group, we assume to be finite group, F is a morphism of group. You don't need to check the inverse because the inverse properties is completely directly can deduce that from the other, at least if it is a finite group. Okay, so it's okay. So we get a morphism of group from any. So the idea here, the strategy, we will deduce many. So we start from a monoidal functor, monoidal Källner functor, and we deduce some properties. So then you have a morphism of group. Then we will apply the structure of monoidal functor. We will get extra structure. So we will get some extra structure in the form of some equation. So extra structure at the level of strictly at the level of group, and we will deduce. We will see, and then as a consequence of that, automatically this will be a complete characterization for a monoidal functor, such a monoidal functor. So we are investigating some properties, but at the end we will see that this will provide a complete characterization as we did for the monoid vec of the monoid. Okay. So now let's consider the monoidal structure. So I'm sorry for this part here. This was a bit confusing, but in fact, I cannot explain now all the details here because this will be done later. And as I said in the book, this was not even mentioned. So I just wanted to provide some extra details not mentioned in the book to just to see that it's not obvious that this functor induce a morphism of groups. You need to prove something. Anyway, it's not trivial. It's obvious, but it's not trivial. So let's consider the modular structure. So in general, so we need isomorphism J H F delta G tensor F delta H to F delta GH, where H is in G1. So, which is, so it's an element of the Hom space C2. Oh. C. Of delta FGH delta FGH. So this Hom space is one-dimensional again. So it is the multiple of identity. Multiple of identity delta FGH. And because it's isomorphism, we need the constant with K. So it's a constant. So it's a constant. So sorry for such obvious details. I don't know. So it's an given by K in K and K different from 0 because it's an isomorphism. And isomorphism. Okay. Okay. So this isomorphism is just a non-zero constant, non-zero scalar. So the modular structure will be given by, again, by a map at the level of group. So we will denote this relation by a star. GH is equal to mu. So some constant identity of delta FGH with delta with mu from G1 cross G1 to K star. K star, because it's non-zero. Yeah, K star. Okay. So we to have a shorter notation, this is delta G, delta H. So we so the usual name is G delta H, but we write it like that. This is shorter. Okay. So now we can reformulate the monoidal structure axiom. So let's recall using omega I, F, and mu. So I will recall the general diagram, and then I will explain what each component should be equal to that, and then we will deduce an equation. So the general So I will redraw the general diagram. So F like that. So I put the full generality. F of Z. Et F X, F Y, F Z. So you apply the associativity here only. Tac. F Y, F Z. Okay. Here we apply the J, X, Y, and the identity FC. Get F, X, tensor Y, FC. And then we apply J only and get F, X, tensor Y, tensor Z. Here, same thing. Identity F of X, tensor Y, Z, F of X, F of Y, Z, and X, Y, tensor Z, F of X, tensor Y, tensor Z. And here, the font apply to the associativity AX, Y, Z. So now we need to translate every component here in term of omega I, F, mu. Now, but here, so, but here, by here I mean in this example, X equal delta G, you can Y equal delta H, you take Z equal delta L. Like that is mu GH, identity of delta F GH. F of X is just delta FG isomorphic too. I guess we can take equal, because we can, if it is not equal, we can change the choice of the simple object at the end. The associativity fx, fy, fz is equal to omega 2 fg, fh, fl. Identity. Identity. We need to put the identity. Okay. Now what about f of a, x, y, z? This is f of omega 1 g, h, l identity of something. But, and here we use the fact that the functor is linear. That's why you need to assume f is k-linear. So this is omega 1 GHL identity, f of identity, which is the identity. So maybe I should write identity of what? Identity of delta of delta GHL. Delta GHL, which is omega 1 GHL, identity of delta FGH. So by definition of a functor, the functor map identity to identity. Okay, so we have that. So now we can translate the previous diagram into the specific case. You just need to replace everywhere by this dictionary, using this dictionary here. Okay. So just a warning. I want to warn here f delta g. Maybe I should write something else. Here, f of delta g tensor f of delta h is equal to f of delta gh, but so, but in general, we choose a GHL different from identity. So you cannot replace its identity up to a multiplicative constant. So when you draw the diagram here, you need to be careful to do not put identity. There is a constant. So the constant, as we said, multiplicative constant mu gh. Okay. So now we can redraw the reste une minute. So we can redraw the diagram. Okay. So you have delta f of g tensor delta f of h tensor delta. So everything f of l. Everything is equal to delta f of g h l. But you need to write like that to see the structure. So here you apply omega 2 f of g f of h f of l times the identity. So you go to delta f of g times delta f of h f of l. So I don't know, maybe I will have not enough space for writing everything. So I will change the page. I will put that in another page. It should be good to finish that before the end. Okay. So I will try to make this quicker. So here, so identity delta f of g tensor mu hl identity of delta f hl. You have delta f of g, so delta f of hl mu ghl identity. You have delta f g hl. So we put the parentheses inside to get to see the structure. Here, mu gh identity delta f g h tensor delta f of l mu gh l identity delta f g h l. And here we need to apply the associativity inside. So mu GHL identity, blah, blah, blah. So in other words, if you this commute, if you consider this diagram, you have for all GHL in G1, mu GHL mu HL omega 2 f of G f of H f of L equal omega 1 GHL mu GHL mu GH. Let's call this equality. Let's call this equality with two stars. So during the last 5 minutes, we will state summary of what we get, summary of what we did as a summary, as a summary, we get a theorem. So we made two notions, F, the map F, and the map mu. Theorem such a couple F mu provide a complete characterization of a monoidal K-linear functor F from C1 to C2. So with where so you have the structure with one star where it's here, so satisfying that, and the structure with the one with two stars here, that. So with that, one with two stars, and F delta G equal delta F of G. So this is almost proved, in fact. This is straightforward. Just to check all this equation, and you exactly get the monoidal structure for the functor. And finally, let's take an exercise. F, so it's an equivalence of category if only if the morphism F is an isomorphism. Okay. So this is the exercise. Above functor will be denoted F like that. And tomorrow, no, next week. Next week, we will start by investigating natural modular transformation. The natural monoidal transformation from F mu to some another F prime mu prime. Okay, so it's fini. So it's okay for today. Let's see you next week.